All right, so here's the deal. Most of the old tractors and equipment that I have around here, when I get it, the wiring is a complete and total disaster, and I rip it out and start all over, but that's beside the point. One thing that I do, either when I'm starting fresh or that someone could do if you're not starting fresh, is add a battery disconnect switch. Now you say, this sounds like frivolous junk, why would anyone want that? Well, there's three very good reasons why. One, and this is really important if you don't use every machine you own pretty much every single day or maybe every week, is it prevents parasitic draw. You know, this is like when you run something for a while, battery's fully charged, and then like 3 months later you go to use it and it's just 100% dead, totally dead. Not only can you not use it, but if that happens enough or hard enough, it'll straight up kill the batteries, you guys know. So now you have to spend 70 or 100 bucks on a new battery. So it prevents that. The other thing is, and I've very luckily not dealt with this personally, if you have a machine and you know, you park it somewhere where there's mice and rats and they get in and they chew on the wires, things can short out and start a fire, or if something happens, if there's some type of short circuit as it's sitting, you know, the machine can catch on fire and burn the whole barn down with it. This prevents that because it basically does the same thing as unhooking the battery cable. And the third reason is as a theft deterrent. Now, obviously on this, there's not much theft deterring it. One, because it's like 40 years old, and as much as I love this thing, it does not have the world's highest monetary value. Mainly because it weighs like 1,200 pounds, and you know, like anyone could, you know, a couple of fat dudes could push it up onto a trailer or whatever, even if it's not running. But, you know, let's say you have a large machine. Let's say you have a big late model cab tractor, you know, especially if you're willing to extend the battery cables. So, you know, you get this set up with one of these battery disconnect switches, and it's only going to have power if you like reach up behind the fender well and give the switch a nice flip. Some random person, if they come in, they try to hotwire your machine or whatever, you know, they're not going to be able to find that. You and your guys and anyone who's allowed to use the machine knows that machine will not start unless you reach up behind that one thing and feel around for the switch and twist it. It's a great theft deterrent. Now, I'm putting it on this because I don't use it very often, and it'll keep this battery from going dead over time. This is very, very simple. It's a switch. It's not complicated. So, these are the ones I use. This is the Fastronic Solutions. I've been buying these since early 2017. There's one on just about every tractor here. The Zetter has one, the Case has one. I think even the old Ford has one, or no, that's what I bought the second one of these for. I don't know, I don't really accomplish all that much. Look, the Backhoe has one. They're on most things that I've worked on. They're bloody great. I've never had a problem with one. And pretty much it's as simple as it gets. You know, you just figure out where one of the battery cables is. I install these on the negative side. You know, this is one downside. You kind of have to make this decision for yourself. When I bought the first one of these ever, I looked up on the internet how to install it. And a bunch of forum results said that some hot rod association says it has to be on the negative side. If you ever put this on the positive cable for any reason, it's the end of the world and your stuff burns to the ground and so on and so forth. And it's just the worst thing you could possibly do. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So that's what I did. And then recently this year, when I went to put one of these on the Case, which has one, here, I'll show you guys, so you don't think I'm just making this video solely for Amazon shilling. Look, it's the same bloody switch. Aren't these things excellent? Yeah, I love them. Yeah, when I went to put one on this, I wanted to double check what I'd written down. Now it's the opposite. Evidently electricity's changed in the last 24 months, because now the people on the internet forum say if you put it on the negative side, then it's the end of the world and To be honest, I don't think it really matters that much. It's a disconnect, but I like to put these on the negative side because that's basically the same as you know, unhooking the ground cable on something, which is a fairly standard thing to do when you're working on something or if you're going to store it. And this makes it so much easier. No tools, just a flip of a switch. So, all right, this is what we're going to do on this thing here. Okay, where's the other lead? Here's the other lead. So this is a little 2-cylinder 17 horsepower engine. It does not have the world's largest battery leads on it. So what we're going to do is drill a hole through the side of this thing here, and we're going to put the one lead on here, and then I'm going to fabric cobble a second lead to go from this to the terminal on the battery. Otherwise, what you could do is you could cut a lead like this and wire it in. It's not rocket surgery. I mean, maybe you pick up a few feet of battery cable and some copper lugs when you buy one of these things. But yeah, what's the worst that can happen? One last check. Yeah, there's plenty of space back there. Oh, no there isn't. All right, well, that's why we check. All right, so I dug out my step drill kit, and we got one of these on here. I figured out I'm gonna put this on the side of this front cowling here. I will be honest, it is not the most ideal, but this tractor, there's not really many spaces on it where you can fit a switch this tall, you know, like this ways tall. And so I'm pretty limited, and ultimately I use this thing mainly just to till my garden and run some PTO powered stuff, so I'm not really worried about it catching on brush. But this is something you have to decide for yourself. Hey, FedEx is here, they're bringing me more junk. Oh, by now they know where to leave it. Ah, look at that. Life is good. All right, now, so you can see, it's a switch, so you just put one side, one power thing on one side and the other power lead on the other. Not exactly that complicated. All right, now, if one wants, you can just stick this cool looking little plate thing on here they give you. Okay. All right, so I'll show you all what the finished product was. That was not very difficult to wire in. That wire that wasn't long enough, it used to go back to this bolt on the frame, so I just moved it to another bolt further up on the frame, thus extending the wire as much as needed. So we got the two of those there. One goes to the battery, one goes to the ground, and then over here, look at that, nice thick, firm action on that. I like it. So, just like that, we no longer have to worry about parasitic draw. And man, this is one of my favorite mods. Like I said, pretty much anything that I rewire gets one of these disconnects on it. I've never had a problem with one. I've never had to take one off. And, well, it's not to love. All right, let's fire this thing up and get it out of here. Oh, I almost forgot one other thing. This tractor, for those who aren't regular viewers, it had some transmission problems when I bought it, and one of the times it was taken apart, the detent springs for the shifter got lost, the thing that gives the actual like click click, that kind of thing. The springs are gone, so it doesn't have that, and unfortunately, come on, oh yeah, unfortunately I was not able to find any in the Kubota parts breakdown for this machine. They are probably out there. I know from when I was reading comments regularly that anytime I would say something like that, a bunch of people who are extremely helpful would be like, look, I found this, you know, which is great. I appreciate it. But I wasn't able to find that, so I had to get a little creative. And what I decided to do was I took this apart and I used a set of calipers to figure out what size springs I needed roughly. Then I looked around on the old interweb on eBay of all places, and I got this whole thing of springs for like, I don't know, $2 shipped or $4 or something. It wasn't very much. These are supposed to be for a 3D printer of some sort, and the person who runs the eBay store, I guess, recognized my name or whatever, and was like, I watch your videos all the time. It's actually really cool of them. So if you're watching this, thank you, wonderful person, and everybody else. The lesson being that you can still find parts for most things, even stuff made the better part of a century ago on the opposite side of the world. But you might have to get a little bit creative. All right, let's see if these fit. Are they gonna fit, buddy? Yeah, they are. Now we only need 4 of these, and there's a whole bunch in here. I think there's like 8 or 10 of them. And so if they're a little too short, we can cut down some of the extras and just like hillbilly mash them all together. But we might not have to. Oh, it's the big moment. Oh, that is perfect. How did there get to be silicone in that hole? Dang it. All right, so it took a couple tries, I think 3 tries to get the length of the springs just right, but look at this. Nice, firm, proper detent action. I like it. Man, between that and the battery disconnect, this little tractor's coming up in the world today. All right, well, let's get it fired up and right off into the sunset here. Right, Lucky? Now, of course, I'm filming this on a GoPro, and the problem with GoPros, one of many problems, is they're just perpetually dead, you know? I had one of their older cameras from 2014, and it would run for like maybe 30, 40 minutes on a full charge, and after 5 years of improvements, this thing will run somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes on a full charge. I mean, you cannot keep these things charged if you're using them. It's impossible. So I have to deal with this battery thing everywhere. So it's really quite a pain. All right, Lucky, don't shift that. All right, anyway, video's over. Everyone go home. Thanks for watching.